Welcome to Greensboro, North Carolina, as UNCG takes on ETSU for the final games, the final series of regular season play. So this series is very, very important, as if either team sweeps, they will get to take the championship. I'm with Kelly Self here on the broadcast. And Kelly, what are the keys to the games?
Today for UNCG, they need to take one game at a time. They can't look ahead. You know, there is a scenario in play right now that if the Spartans do sweep this weekend, they win the regular season title. So they need to keep in mind, take one game at a time. Anything can happen. They have 3 games. So, you know, take the first one, take the second one, take the third one. And then for our starting pitcher, Alicia Bazanski, she needs to keep the ball down in the zone and induce ground balls. ETSU has a great hitting team. They are leading the SoCon in batting average at .281. So as long as Boz can keep the ball down in the zone, UNCG should be successful today.
Also, really important for UNCG to score first. That seems to be a huge predictor of how they're going to do for the rest of the game. When they get on board the first game, it's pretty much a wrap. They're 19-2 on the season when they score first. So if we see them score first, that's going to be a really good sign for Spartan fans watching the broadcast.
Yeah, and that's an all-important thing is to get that momentum on the Spartan side and keep it on their side. Don't let ETSU switch the momentum over to their side.
So we mentioned Alicia Bazanski on the mound for the Spartans. Bazanski, the ace for the blue and gold right now, and her specialty is that drop ball. She tends to go inside a lot, and she's not a pitcher who's unpredictable at all. That isn't her strength. Batters know what they're going to get with her, and they still have a hard time getting a good piece of it. So she's very, very upfront. She's throwing that drop ball. She might mix up in some height, but her power pitch, her bread and butter is going to be that drop ball.
Yeah, and because of that, as I talked about before, she does rely on her field a lot. So it's also important for the Spartans to have a clean play while they're out on defense.
So leading off for ETSU is Micaiah Johnson, and Micaiah Johnson is a senior with a .299 batting average, so just one under that magic 300 number. So you can guarantee she will get the ball in play pretty frequently.
University, the center fielder, number 28, Micaiah Johnson.
Ball outside and a little bit high in the zone. Not the normal first pitch for Bazanski. Another ball on the outside part of the plate. That one looked decent, so it looks like she might be just trying to find this umpire's zone right now. So far, both on the outside, maybe the scouting report on Micaiah Johnson was that she can hit that inside pitch pretty well. And there's the inside pitch, fouled off from Johnson. Count is now 2-1.
And like you just mentioned, it's important for early on for Boz to kind of feel out the umpire, because the strike zone does run from the letters to the knees. That's the traditional strike zone, but each umpire behind the plate does have their own strike zone and what they like to call as a ball or a strike. So it's important for Boz to take note of that, and also Becca Kale behind the plate to take note of that too when framing the ball.
And important for them to adjust too, to know that even if it's not the traditional strike zone and you know what his zone is, if that means you have to get the ball a little bit more over the plate, then that's what she's going to have to do. So that second strike of the at-bat was inside drop ball. That last one, she went out again. So far, all 3 balls have been on the outside part of the plate. Full count. There's that inside pitch. And Tori Wright makes a Gabrielle Covage makes a jumping save for that line drive just over her head. Beautiful play from Gabrielle Covage to start it off for the Spartans, who now have 1 out. And here we see it again, and Covage just able to jump and barely get that ball within reach.
She timed that perfectly. If she
really
would have been a second early or a second late, she wouldn't have gotten that ball. So
because it was a little bit slow moving too. It was a line drive, but it didn't have a ton of power on it, so she had to wait, and then shoot up.
Rising at the same time, which is also tricky. Gabby Covage flashing a little leather out there early on.
And Nikki Grupp now up to bat, and she's all the way in the back of the batter's box. So 1 out for the Spartans. Fantastic play by Gabrielle Cubbage. And another one on the outside part of the plate, and so far the outside part of the plate is not doing Bazanski any favors right now.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like the umpire's giving her that outside part of the plate. As the game goes on, that might come into play a little bit, and you know, the umpire, sometimes we see umpires open up their strike zone a little bit, so we'll have to take note of what this home plate umpire wants to do today.
And that last pitch, an off speed, called for a strike. Ball outside part of the plate. Bazanski's shying away from the inside more than she usually does.
And that might be because these ETSU hitters tend to, you know, favor the inside pitch. They are leading the SoCon in batting average, and they do have 73 doubles on the year. I mean, there's some power hitters on this team.
So ETSU is the best double team in the Southern Conference, and UNCG is the best home run team in the Southern Conference. So both sides, both dugouts are going to have significant power in this series.
Yeah, we should see a lot of offense during the series, no doubt.
So Bazanski now has 2 strikes. That last one was fouled off, the one before. Inside, hit off the batter's foot. Little ground ball, but since it hit off her foot, it was just a foul ball, dead ball. Last one fouled off outside. The count is now full for Nikki Grupp. And drop ball inside, 2 inside and 2 low. That will be a free base for Nikki Grupp, who takes the walk. Danielle Knutza, the designated player, now up to bat.
Danielle Knutza.
She's a senior with a whopping batting average of .384.
And she also leads the SoCon with 10 home runs.
And she swings on that outside pitch. Bazanski finally getting the result she was looking for on that one.
Yeah, and this is the first batter that she's actually gotten ahead on. The first 2 batters, they had great at-bats, and both batters worked it to a full count.
And hits ground ball, dead ball, either off Kale or off.
I think it hit her bat, actually. It looked like it hit her bat, yeah. So it hit the ground, bounced up, and hit her bat.
So Bazanski now very ahead of the count. No balls, 2 strikes on the best hitter in the lineup. Another one fouled off. Knutza protecting on that pitch. One out, runner on first. And that drop curve, beautifully placed, sends Knutza back to the dugout. And that pitch is so difficult to hit. A lot of times with those type of pitches, pitchers have one plane they're working with, whether it's rising or dropping or going east to west. And in this case, the drop curve is very tough because it does both. So it curves outside and it also drops. So you have to be aware of both planes moving. And also with outside pitches, you almost have to wait a little bit longer. And when it doesn't look like it's outside, it's not just that it's dropping or that it's curving, it's also that your timing is off on that pitch.
Exactly. That's a lethal pitch because it's not only tailing down, it's tailing away from a right-handed batter in that situation. And that was a huge out for UNCG, and also a huge confidence booster for the Boz there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's got to feel good to strike, you know, the leading home run hitter in the conference out, not to mention the best bat in the lineup for ETSU. So that's great for Bazanski's confidence here.
So now with 2 outs, runner on first still, 2 balls, no strikes. Tiffany Lauren, the left fielder with another high batting average of .364. She's standing all the way in the back of the box. Has taken 3 straight balls. So Bazanski really only getting ahead of the one batter that she struck out so far this inning. has gotten more behind than she typically has on all but one batter, and that just sent Tiffany Lauren to first base with another walk. So Bizanski already has 2 walks in the first inning.
Yeah, and she looks like she's thrown a lot of pitches in this first inning. She got behind the first 2 batters. They worked it to a full count. Great at bats on their part. She's just gotten a little behind these batters, and Spartan defense is going to huddle here and try to settle their pitcher down. You know, they've got 2 outs. There's a force at any bag right now in this situation.
And they are a good defensive team. So, I mean, we saw earlier with Gabrielle Covich making that tough play. If Bizanski can get them to get the ball in play, reasonable, even difficult plays, they will be made by her defense. And ground ball up the center goes just past Bizanski's glove and
tags her out.
Tags
That's
her
an out. That's
out.
the 3rd out.
Jasmine Palmer looking a little bit frustrated. She got a little bit mauled over by one of the base runners for ETSU, but they got the out, and UNCG gets to go out of that inning without any runs scored against, despite a little bit of turbulence.
In the top of the first, no runs, no hits, no errors.
We'll be back.
Add big flavor to your next get-together with Subway Catering, featuring good-to-go boxed meals with a side and freshly baked cookie, crowd-pleasing giant subs, and piled-high sandwich platters overflowing with flavorific choices, all made the way you say with everything you love, like jalapenos and Chipotle Southwest sauce. Subway Catering is simple and satisfying, a great value for any budget. Just call 877-360-CATER or visit Subway.com and let us take care of any occasion. Subway, cater frat.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Welcome back to Greensboro, North Carolina, as the Spartans take the bats for the first time in the bottom of the first inning. Jasmine Palmer will be the leadoff batter, as she has been throughout the majority of this season. And Palmer very, very good at getting on base. She has a really good eye, watches the ball well, watches the ball go out of the strike zone better than most, way better than average.
Yeah, her on-base percentage is .523, so 52% of the time, Jasmine Palmer is getting on base, and that's what you look for in a leadoff batter. She has 29 walks on the year, and not to mention those 20 hit by pitches.
Yeah, she does a good job of getting close to the plate and taking away a lot of what is normally a pretty convenient strike zone for pitches.
She's willing
really
to
squeezes that.
Yep, she's willing to try to get on base any way possible, and if that means getting a little bruised up, taking one for the team, she's going to do it.
So pitching for ETSU is Lindsay Fadnick. She is a senior with a 3.0 ERA and has a 7-3 win-loss. Palmer all the way in the back of the box. And Fadnick throws that first one, outside corner, strike one on Jasmine Palmer.
Fadnick throws the ball pretty hard. I remember watching her last year, and she can really throw it in there. She's not. I would say she's going to be in the upper 50s to low 60s.
And Palmer hits a line drive right to the shortstop. The great piece of hitting from Jasmine Palmer, but it just went straight to that shortstop.
Yeah, that was a great hit, and that was a hard hit off the bat, and that's what you're looking for, a line shot, quick off the bat. It was just, unfortunately, it was hit right to where one of the East Tennessee defenders was standing.
Yeah, Kelsey Chernick at shortstop really made a great play. That was similar to the play we saw from Gabrielle Covich in the first. Well-hit balls, just right within the reach of an athletic play from the infield. Alexis Overdeep now up to bat for the Spartans. She takes the first ball outside. strike on the outside part of the plate. Pretty pitch. Very pretty pitch from Lindsay Fadnick, who is really able to just paint the outside corners of the plate on that pitch.
And that's where you want to put the ball against the slap hitter. Alexis Overdeep is a slap hitter, keeping it on that outside corner with them running toward the field and almost toward first base. It's really hard for a slap hitter to get their bat out to that outside corner and make solid contact.
And Alexis Overdeep fooled on that last pitch was a rise ball. We'll see if Fadnick throws it again, and she does, but Overdeep does not take the bait this time. It was almost the same pitch as the last one. Overdeep clearly adjusted, though, recognized the rise ball and was able to lay off it this time. Count is even. And right on the outside corner, a little bit high. You can hear
a little high in the zone there.
Some roots and a little bit of frustration from the fans at ETSU, but to me that pitch looked definitely high.
Yeah, it was well above the letters on Alexis Overdeep. She's not a real big girl, so
No.
Strike zone is smaller.
And right up the middle, Overdeep will try to run it out, not quite able to make it. So there is the second out for the Spartans. Overdeep returns to the dugout with that little ground ball to their third baseman, Kelsey Smith.
Up to bat, the third baseman, number 6, Gabby Cubbage.
Gabby Cubbage now up to bat, UNCG's third baseman. Cubbage has a batting average of .285, and she lets that outside and high rise ball go by. Cubbage also in the back of the box. And swings at that pitch that tails outside. Pretty pitch, a lot of movement.
Yeah, she's got a ton of movement on the ball, and it's breaking right when it gets to the plate, which is, as a pitcher, that's what you want.
Perfect.
You want it to break right as it gets to the plate, fool those batters, and every single pitch that she's thrown has a lot of spin on it, a lot of fast break.
And just like that last one, that was a rise ball that had a lot of spin on it, and you see it just kind of tails off the end of Gabrielle Cubbage's bat as she swings and fouls that one off behind her. So now 1 ball, 2 strikes, Cubbage will protect. We know that Fadnick has a good rise ball. Cubbage able to foul that off up behind her.
And it's gotten really windy here. I was just looking at the flags. They're blowing straight
Yeah.
out, which we talked about this being potentially a big offensive game for both teams.
And strikeout on that rise ball that Fadnick is already showing she can throw so well. The Spartans will send 3 up and retire 3 back.
At the bottom of the first inning, there were no runs.
For the bottom of the first inning, no runs, no hits, no errors.
Through an inning of play, the score is tied at 0.
We'll be back.
The UNCG Alumni Association wants to remind all students and alumni in the stands that you're Spartans for life. Keep up on alumni news, events, and programs at uncgalumni.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at UNCG Alumni. The long to go, the right
The
now.
road to Omaha begins in Greenville, South Carolina. The Southern Conference Baseball Tournament comes to Fluor Field May 23rd through 28th. Enjoy some great college baseball with a trip to the NCAA's on the line in a city the New York Times.
These are the student athletes. This is where they train. These are their homes. This is where they become Rhodes Scholars and academic All-Americans. These are the athletes they've always admired. This is where champions are crowned and moments are made. This is the Southern Conference.
Welcome back to UNCG's stadium as ETSU is now up to bat again. We are just starting the second inning. So far scoreless. ETSU had 2 different base runners in the first inning, and UNCG has had none so far, but both of those base runners got on by walks, so we haven't seen any hits yet. And a swing on that, I think, rise ball. That's what it looked like to me from
Looks like a little rise.
Bazanski. Kelsey Smith, third baseman, now up to bat. Smith is a junior with a 1.67 ERA. So when you look at that in the lineup, it's not really a batting average that Bazanski would exactly be super nervous about, but you really do never know. She's still going to try to keep the ball off the plate.
Anything can happen on any given day, but as we see right here, the Boz is ahead 0-2, which we didn't see her get ahead 0-2 on any batter, I don't think, last inning.
I think except for that one strikeout. But that's
ball hit right up the middle.
That right there is a cardinal sin for pitchers. She's up 0-2 on, just looking at the stats, the weakest batter in ETSU's lineup. Ball goes right over the plate where she has three different pitches, three different balls to work with. Goes right over the plate. She relaxes a little bit and just a nice hard ground ball right up the middle.
Yeah.
And just like that, there's a runner on and a lot of momentum in ETSU's dugout as they get the first hit of the game from the weakest batting average in both lineups today. Rise ball from Bazanski. Kelsey Chernick now up to bat.
So it doesn't look like East Tennessee is looking to bunt in this situation. At least, you know, the leadoff, the second batter in the lineup here hasn't shown a bunt, which that might not be their game plan coming into here.
And Chernick is a shortstop. She's the one that made that nice play from Palmer's line drive right over the head of her position at shortstop, and she was able to just get her glove in time. Chernick has a batting average of 207. And fouls that drop ball off down and below her. Count is now even, 2-2. Runner on first base. And hard ground ball. Palmer able to make the tag and throws for the out at
great
first.
Double play.
And delayed reaction from the umpire and called out as Schultes makes the stretch to get that play.
And it looks like Smith is telling her third base coach there that she didn't get tagged. So East Tennessee coach is going to come out and talk to the umpire about that. And
so umpires will now have a meeting to check whether she was in fact tagged, and I think also to determine whether they think that play was made in time, because I think the coaches from ETSU were frustrated about both parts of that call.
That was great execution for the Spartans. That was exactly what Boz wanted in that situation, a hard ground ball to the second baseman, Jazz Palmer. And the umpires confirmed the call. It is an out, so a double play for the Spartans. They have turned quite a few double plays on this season.
That is a strength of theirs, and that, again, so important with a pitcher like Bazanski, but they are verifying that call was correct, and that is very good for the Spartans, good with momentum, too, to really have when they finally get a hit and they're getting a little bit of offense generated, to have that taken away from them is definitely a blow. ETSU's base runner now running back to the dugout after an even more final decision from the umpires to Brad Irwin from ETSU. Their head coach is in his 7th season at ETSU. Kylie Toller now, the catcher, up to bat. Freshman in the catching position with a 207 batting average. And ball way outside. Bazanski missed her spot on that one. It just kept tailing. One ball, one strike, 2 outs from that double play. And ground ball, it's going to be close. Cubbage able to make the throw and That will send her back to the dugout. UNCG once again gets through an inning with no runs scored against them.
In that inning for East Tennessee, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, no one left on base.
It's tied at 0.
We'll be back with the bottom of the second.
Flavor to your next get-together with Subway Catering, featuring good-to-go boxed meals with a side and freshly made cookie, crowd-pleasing giant subs, and piled-high sandwich platters overflowing with flavorific choices. All made the way you say with everything you love, like jalapenos and Chipotle Southwest sauce. Subway Catering is simple and satisfying, a great value for any budget. Just call 877-360-CATER or visit Subway.com and let us take care of any occasion. Subway, cater fresh.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
UNCG and ETSU are in the bottom of the second inning now. The Spartans with their second chance to make something happen on the bases. In the first inning, they saw 1, 2, 3 up and down, so definitely looking for something different this time.
Yeah, and they're right in the meat of their lineup. 4, 5, 6 hitters up for the Spartans, so they'll try to get something going.
Marissa Schultes will lead off, the first baseman. Schultes, sophomore, with a 3.47 average, so the highest on the team. And Schultes just has so much power, a power lefty, and once she gets a hold of the ball, she can really send it out of the park.
And what I see from her, seeing her in the weight room and stuff, her hips are so powerful, and that transitions, from softball into the weight room and vice versa. I see in her lifts, her hips are so quick and explosive, which obviously helps her with that power lefty swing.
And softball, I mean, that's where you're going to get most of your power. It's not, you're not getting it from your arms. That all helps. Everything helps, having strong abs, but your hips is where you're generating power to turn on the ball and send it out of the park. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. She swung and missed on a rise ball. We know that Fodnick has a pretty good rise ball that she goes to with 2 strikes pretty frequently. There it is again, and it is fouled back. Drop third strike. Catcher runs after. Schultes runs. It's going to be close, and she is safe. Marissa Schultes gets on from a drop third strike on a rise ball strikeout. What a fantastic job, and Schultes, you could see right after that, she swung, she started to go back to the dugout, saw it was behind her, and she just ran. She sprinted, and she was able to get there in time.
And Marissa Schultes, I mean, we just talked about her hip explosion. That also pairs into her being a very, very fast athlete. She, straight ahead speed. She, on the Spartan team this year, she's probably top 5 straight ahead speed, easily top 5.
And
so it doesn't surprise me that she was able to leg that out.
You know what? It doesn't surprise me that she swung, that she was able to get on. It doesn't surprise me that it got past the catcher, too, because it's a double-edged sword to have a rise ball with that much spin, because she can strike a batter out, and it can still get past the catcher, and it doesn't even mean that the catcher did anything wrong. It's hard to see that rise ball, period, and then when you add a bat to the mix, near impossible. So I personally wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more rise balls that get by the catcher today, just because it moves so quickly.
See that rise ball again. That rise ball wasn't quite as far out of the zone as the drop ball third strike on Schultes, but McClaskey showing bunt in that situation. Just trying to move the runner over, trying to produce some runs here.
Shows bunt. Pushes it out. McClaskey lucky on that their third baseman was not able to make the snag. That is another cardinal sin of softball, is getting a bunt in the air. But she didn't, fouled off, and so she has another chance. 2 balls, 1 strike. McClaskey, shortstop for UNCG, up to bat, trying to move Schultes over.
And a correction that Rachel needs to make real quick if she's going to get the bunt again is, instead of jabbing at the ball and pushing it almost, she needs to catch it with her bat.
She does does not make the correction. Schultz dives back, even though their second baseman kind of gets in her way. Schultz having a heads-up play, able to get back, and McClaskey not the outcome she was looking for at all. That's very frustrating for McClaskey, for Coach Brenneman, for
and that's just
in general.
not making that adjustment, which, you know, and in that situation, she got her feet moving. She was almost trying to, it looked like she was trying to bump for a base hit, and her momentum was taking her toward the field of play, which it's hard to control where the ball is going to go if your body's also moving.
Well, and
That's
on that
tough.
bunt, she would have had to make two adjustments. She would have had to get it fair, and she would have had to get it on the ground, and she was able to make one. She got it fair. Unfortunately, that got her out. It would have been better if she had made the adjustment to have it foul and on the ground in that case. So Tori right now up to bat with one strike, and she hits that one up, and it's going towards left field, and it is going to be an out, thrown back. Schultz does not try to take second base, so Tori Wright will go back to the dugout with that fly out to left field. Tiffany Lauren able to make that catch. Sydney Gerkman now up to bat, and Gerkman getting some time on the field now. She's actually in right field, and for the most part, she's been a DP, and she hits that ball up, and it is going to go towards right field, and the right fielder able to make the play, and that'll be 3 outs for the Spartans, all 3 outs on balls in the air. Not surprising when you're facing a dominant rise ball pitcher.
And in that bottom half of the second inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on base. We'll be back for the top of the third.
The road to Omaha begins in Greenville, South Carolina. The Southern Conference Baseball Tournament comes to Fluor Field May 23rd through 28th. Enjoy some great college baseball with a trip to the NCAA's on the line in a city the New York Times calls one of the top places to go in 2017. Get your tickets to the tournament and book your rooms in that Greenville today. Experience the games. Explore the city.
These are the student athletes. This is where they train. These are their homes. This is where they become Rhodes Scholars and academic All-Americans. These are the athletes they've always admired. This is where champions are crowned and moments are made. This is the Southern Conference.
UNCG on the field for the top of the third inning as they face ETSU. And just in case you're starting to tune in, this series is very, very important. If either team sweeps, they will be the champions of the Southern Conference. However, if they split, that would mean that their fate isn't entirely in their own hands. They could still be the champions, but that would depend on how the series goes with Samford and with Western Carolina.
And it could even potentially, I was talking to assistant coach Tracy Lynch, and she was telling me that it could even end in a tie for the regular season title, which is what UNCG also saw with their men's basketball team. So it all depends. It all comes down to this last weekend in Southern Conference play to see who's going to get that number 1 seed for the tournament, which you get a bye if you get the number 1 seed. That's huge in a tournament.
And once again, the only way they can absolutely guarantee that they do that is by winning all 3 games.
And in talking to the girls before they went on the field today, while I was warming them up, I just told them, I said, hey, you guys don't need to be looking ahead to SoCons. You don't need, the tournament. You don't need to be looking ahead to tomorrow. You guys got to take 1 game at a time, and that's one of their keys to the game. You cannot look ahead.
1 pitch at a time. So, pretty outside pitch from Alicia Bazonsky, who now is up in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mallory Schur, junior, with a .240 average in right field today in the back of the box. It's a little chopper. It's going to be a close play just because of communication, and Bazonsky able to kind of shuffle it over to Palmer. Palmer falls on the base, also potentially on the runner, and she is called safe. A little bit of a collision.
They got tied up a little bit there
Yeah,
on first base. That's a tricky play.
it's a very tricky play. Just because of where that ball goes, it's like equidistant from both second base and from the pitcher, and then if it's close to the first baseman, which it also would make sense for the first baseman to try to get that, then she has to charge, and then it's trying to figure out who's going to
You also had to see Marissa Schultes bail out really, really quickly because Marissa was actually on that ball just as quickly as Boz was. Boz was the better play. Marissa is a left-handed thrower, so that was a good play. Jazz was there. It was just a tough play. It was close. Coach Brenneman's out talking to the umpires, maybe talking about some possible interference. That would be the only thing she could argue would be interference there. And she's probably arguing that since there was a collision, that the runner was actually inside of the baseline. So I could see that there. I could see her making a case for that.
I could see that too, because Palmer did fall over, and it could have been because of the base. It could have been because of the base runner. It could have potentially even been from one of her own players, but hard to tell. So in that case, it's ruled as an error. Who is that error on?
I would say that error, we'll have to see what the official scorekeeper says, but I would say the error was on Boz in that situation because the throw was too hot to handle.
Okay.
I would say it was on Boz, but we'll have to see what the official scorekeeper says.
So now back to the top of the lineup. Makia Johnson, center fielder. She had that line drive out to Gabrielle Cubbage, so she got a good piece of the ball, but she hasn't had a hit yet in the game. There's still only been one hit so far in this game.
And I did just get confirmation from the official scorekeeper it was an E1, so an error on Bazanski there.
And an attempt to lay down the bunt fails. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And East Tennessee was in the same situation in the top of the second inning, and we didn't see them try to bunt. And now we see them trying to bunt, trying to manufacture a run, get a runner in scoring position. But the fundamentals that I've seen from Johnson right now, she fouled off both those pitches trying to bunt. Not great.
Not a bunter.
So East Tennessee might not be a great bunting team. That might not be their strategy. We'll have to keep an eye on that through the rest of the series and the rest of these 2 games today.
Well, and it's interesting if they're not a bunting team just because they, in general, have so many games that are close. Ball outside. So 26 of ETSU's 46 games this season have been decided by 2 runs or less. And in those games, the Bucks went 12-14. So ETSU is 8-6 in 1-run games and 4-8 in 2-run games this season. So for a team that loses or wins by so few runs, it's interesting. And pass ball gets past, not pass ball, that's a wild pitch, kind of dribbles off from Kale, and then runner advances. Kale not making the throw. Didn't need to. It was too late at that point.
And that's kind of rare, even if it is something that's in the dirt and something that's looking like it's going to be a wild pitch. Becca Kale is a great defensive catcher.
She is.
And she can gobble up any pitch for the most part that hits the dirt.
And Alicia Bazanski overthrowing on that pitch. You hear an unusual grunt from her, which some pitchers grunt every time they pitch. She's not one of those. The ball was thrown harder than normal and spun outside. It was a curveball that lost control. So when I pitched, and I did that kind of thing, that would happen to me when I got frustrated and when I was overthrowing, when I was trying really hard to generate something. So I was trying really hard to get a strikeout, and instead I overthrew it, would toss my shoulder because there was extra power from my hips, and I would often walk a batter just like that too.
And it's important not to do that. At this point, Boz has been pitching most of her life. By this point, her body knows exactly what it should be doing.
Yeah.
So when she starts to, put a little more effort into it or really start thinking about it, you're going to see, pitches out of the zone right there. And, because of the wild pitch, the runner was on second base, so first base was open. So it didn't really hurt anything. it makes a force at any bag now. It makes it easier to get a double play for the Spartans.
So Nikki Grupp now, second baseman, up to bat, and at her last at bat, she had a walk. So far there have already been 3 walks this game. And Grupp in the 2 spot in the lineup. Shows for bunt. Tries to lay it down, gets behind her. She hurt her hand on that. I don't know if it almost seems like maybe she hit her hand.
And that would be her top hand. So that's her right hand. Her top hand is actually holding toward the thicker part and toward the barrel of the bat.
Yeah.
So she might have just been holding it too loose, and the bat actually came and smacked her back in the thumb. That happened to me a lot. It's pretty painful, even with batting gloves. You see Becca Kale getting in front of that ball, not letting the runners advance. She might need to go out and talk to the Boz, because the Boz is getting pretty wild. We don't usually see her have control issues.
No, and she's not a pitcher that struggles with walking, and just that she's only seen 10 batters so far through completion, and 3 of them have been walks, is not the Bazanski we're used to seeing. Fouled off, she gets a strike there. The count is full.
And that may just be, in the back of her head, she's probably thinking, hey, these are huge games, Even if, you talk to her and you say, hey, are you nervous? She might say no. But in the back, that's always in the back of your head. All these girls in the back of their head is, hey, we've got to win these games. So they're putting a little more pressure on themselves.
And little chopper up. It might be another repeat of what happened. Schultz is able to get it. No error on that. No one makes the throw, thankfully, because the throw would not have resulted in anything positive in that situation, but it is a single.
And that's a tough play to make right there. That's a tough play for Marissa Schultz. When she fields it, she has to spin a complete circle to throw it back to first base. And with the quick runner, the second batter in the lineup is usually pretty quick, and
so now the
bases
Spartans
are loaded.
In a little bit of a hole with no outs, and like you said, bases loaded. And we're talking about that pressure a little bit and how they want to take it one game at a time, but everyone on this team knows that in order to guarantee a championship, they need to win all 3 games this weekend. And even it's senior day, so they have chalk all up along the walkway around the stadium, and right before you walk into the field. And ground ball to Bazanski, who throws to home. Kale turns and throws to first, and the Spartans get another double play. Fantastic job from the Spartans. Heads up play from Bazanski, throws to Kale. Kale quickly turns and makes the throw to Schultz. Bazanski gives a triumphant little point and fist bump towards Kale, and the Spartans are back in it with 2 outs.
And an added little thing to go on top of that. Becca Kale was injured last weekend. It was literally the exact same play that just happened. She had a runner come in and slide into her front foot, and that's good for Becca Kale because, in that situation, she might have been a little gun shy. She could have thrown the ball over into right field because she could have been thinking, hey, is this girl going to come into me and slide into my foot again?
Yeah.
Becca Kale's been a little gimpy. All the beginning of this week, she was kind of trying to nurse that ankle back to health. So it's good to see that from Becca Kale, that she's not gun shy. She's ready to bring it.
And ball outside, and you're right, she's not gun shy. Throws down to Gabby Cubbage to try to get the runner. Not able to get her, but certainly is giving her a little bit of warning about leading off too far. So around the stadium, there's chalk all over, and just where the team walks in, on the left side of the field, they have written in chalk, "Enter here for the ring," and and the ring being the championship ring. So they're all painfully aware of what is at stake in all of these games and all of these innings, and that any given pitch could change the outcome of the game, of the season.
And that hitter that I didn't even realize where we were in the lineup, that hitter that hit into that double play is best hitter on the ETSU lineup. I didn't even realize that's where we were in the lineup. And so that was a huge out for the Spartans. That makes it even bigger.
And she was the one that got the strikeout too. So Bazanski's only strikeout was against their best hitter, as well as that double play. And strike from Bazanski. That one I almost thought she was heading back to the dugout with her body language, but that was just strike 2.
It looked like Tiffany Lauren was really swinging hard on that pitch, swinging for the fence. That was a good pitch. That was a good pitch. It looks like she just missed on the outside corner, but with first base open, that's your second best hitter in the East Tennessee lineup.
Not a bad person.
That's not a bad place to put her, you know, with first base open. So Basel come in and try to work on the next hitter up here for East Tennessee.
And also not a bad pitch to throw, even though she missed her spot a little bit. That was a drop curve, and if she had just made a tiny adjustment, that could have just as easily been a strikeout. And so good to get that. If that hadn't been hit, it would have been on the grounds, and it would have been to the right side of the field, and so that would have been an easy third out. So a good pitch to call. Taylor Carter now up to bat. Strike on the outside part of the plate.
And additionally, with that walk, it sets up a force at any bag. So it takes a little bit of pressure off your infield. You know, if the third baseman gets a hot shot to her, she's right there at third base. She can just tag it. She doesn't have to, you know, put more pressure on herself to make a good throw to first base. So that takes a little pressure off the Spartan infield, at least, on a routine ground ball.
Two balls, one strike, 2 outs, bases loaded. Strike from Bazanski. The count is now even, 2-2.
And last time up at bat, Carter had that ball hit to Jazz Palmer, where she just tagged the runner out on the way. It was actually Boz tipped it, and Jazz Palmer was there to get it.
And fouled off from Carter. Carter's strong hitter, senior, average of 341. You can be sure that Bazanski is well aware of that as well.
Not a bad hitter, and you got a lot of experience, her being a senior too. She's been in situations like this, so you might see a freshman get kind of nervous and be a little bit easier to overpower. But as a senior, you want to be in these spots. Like, you want to be up, bases loaded with 2 outs, and you want to put the team on your back and get it done.
She fouls off that one too, so putting up a fight in this at-bat. The last 2 were fouled off, and especially in a situation like this where Bazanski is struggling for control more than she normally does, each one of those foul balls is a new frustration for Bazanski in this situation. And a hard ground ball, short hop up to Palmer, who bobbles it and tries to get the play, and she is able to make the play, and the Spartans get out of another close inning for the 3rd time in a row.
In the top of the 3rd for East Tennessee, there was 1 hit, 1 error, 3 left on base, and no runs scored. We'll be back for the bottom of the 3rd.
Your score is 0-0.
Add big flavor to your next get-together with Subway Catering, featuring good-to-go boxed meals with a side and freshly baked cookie, crowd-pleasing giant subs, and piled-high sandwich platters overflowing with flavorific choices. All made the way you say with everything you love, like jalapenos and Chipotle Southwest sauce. Subway Catering is simple and satisfying, a great value for any budget. Just call 877-360-CATER or visit Subway.com and let us take care of any occasion. Subway, cater fresh.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
UNCG has their 3rd attempt offensively, as Rebecca Kale will lead off for the Spartans, and UNCG hasn't had a hit yet, so it's definitely time for them to get something started.
Well, there's only been 2 hits from East Tennessee, and we talked about how these are the top 2 hitting teams in the Southern Conference, and we were expecting to see an offensive game and be a really exciting game, and so far there's only been 2 hits.
So far there's only been 2, but this is a series, so there will be this game and 2 more, but definitely not what either of our predictions were so far.
Leading off the bottom of the 3rd inning.
And for the Spartans, I mean, after
Becca
Kale and then Aquaviva, I mean, those are going to be the last. They haven't all seen the pitcher yet, so it's still they're just getting accustomed to what they're going to see. And she hits that ball up, and it looks like it will go into foul territory. And bad read from the third baseman, who turns and tries to make the play, stops, throws her glove up, and kind of gets blinded by the sun or just steps over her feet a little bit. That was the type of play. Tough play.
That's for your third baseman's playing up in front of the bag, and in that situation, you want your shortstop to be able to come over. Your shortstop should be able to make that play because they're running straight across versus your third baseman drop stepping back and trying to run back on the ball, find where the fence is, find where the lip of the grass is.
Try not to run into
the
Coach
third base
Brenneman
coach.
or the third base umpire.
Right, right.
There's a few obstacles in the way.
There's just a whole lot more that your shortstop can see. So the shortstop should have tried to take that ball away from the third baseman in that situation.
And Kale able to foul off that screwball, it looked like. Hits just that thin part of the bat, which any softball player knows that it hurts. Leaves a little bit of sting when you swing and the ball gets on that part of the bat. So Kale doing a good job of not showing the pain in her hands right now.
Right, but like we talked about in the top of the third, Becca Kale got slid into last weekend, and she's here playing this weekend, so she's pretty tough.
Yeah.
She's a tough kid.
If she can deal with the ankle problem she's dealing with, and she can certainly deal with a little numbness in her fingers, I think.
She's a tough kid, to say the least.
No balls, 2 strikes, Kale protecting. And I think that Kale gets in this situation a lot. She likes to be aggressive. She likes to swing.
Yeah, she does get down 0-2 a lot. We see her, and then we'll see her,
get
rip
out
a
of
double.
it.
Yeah, we'll see her rip a double off the outfield wall on a junk changeup.
A lot of batters are uncomfortable 0-2, and I think others find it easier because there's less to think about. You don't have to try to predict what a pitcher's going to throw. You just have to react. And so in a lot of ways, it's simpler to have 2 strikes. But she is a batter that seems very comfortable with 2 strikes in general.
Good eye on that one.
Rise ball outside.
And we've seen, over this past season, the games that we've called at least, we've seen the Spartans struggle with rise ball pitchers. So it's good to see the Spartans making adjustments, especially this late in the season. They should be able to lay off those rise balls.
And Kale hits that one up, and it's going towards left field, and it will be near the fence, and left fielder able to throw out her glove, make the grab, and then run into the fence. So great hit from Kale. If she had
caught that ball
a little
right
bit
against
more,
the fence.
if the wind had been going the opposite way, she would have been fine. We've seen the wind shift the way it's going. This time it's kind of going towards the left, but earlier it was blowing out of the stadium. So if maybe she'd hit that a couple innings ago, that might have been gone.
Yeah, and off the bat, I thought it was gone. I said it had a chance, and we see the left fielder make a great play right at the fence. Takes a collision in the fence, takes one for the team, but that was a great piece hit him from Becca Kale.
Emily Aquaviva now up to bat and in the 9th spot in the lineup. Aquaviva started off really hot in the season, had a really good bat, and she's slowed down a little bit since conference, really.
Yeah, but she's moved around in the batting lineup a lot. We saw in the middle of the season she was hitting the 4 spot. Then she cooled off a little bit. Coach Brenneman dropped her down to the 7-8 spot, and now we see her in the 9 spot. And I actually like her in the 9 spot because the number 9 hitter is also the same thing as a leadoff hitter in softball. So it's almost interchangeable. And Emily Aquaviva has got some wheels. She's one of the top 5 people. We were talking about Marissa Schultz as being in the top 5 straight ahead speed. She's another one of them that's in it. So she gets on base. She's quick, and she's looking to move into scoring position. She has potential to steal a base for sure. So I actually like her in the 9 spot.
So now she's protecting. There were 2 balls, and then fouls that one off, and the strike, the first one, she took it. It was a screw ball that went very inside. The second one was a rise ball inside, swung. That last one she was able to foul off. It was more towards the outside part of the plate. So she's seen 3 different pitches, all for strikes so far. So now she's protecting, and wouldn't be surprised to see that rise ball. There's that through ball, and she's able to turn on it and almost has the wheels to make it work. It was a close play, but ended up, she's called out on that one.
If she were a left-handed hitter, she would have been safe.
Kelsey Chernak at shortstop, able to make that routine play with, you know, a little bit of a quicker throw than average, but still, for the most part, routine.
Last time, so Jazz Palmer's up to bat. This is her second time seeing Fadnick. And the last time she was up, she had that hard line shot to the shortstop. So she'll be looking to make the same type of contact, but she's looking to put it in a hole somewhere. She doesn't want to. She wants to hit it to where they're not playing.
And inside, so 1 ball, 1 strike on Palmer. And it looks like that just hit the corner of her elbow, and she's holding it a little bit. That one definitely hurt with the speed that Fadnick has, but Palmer very, very okay with getting hit by pitches, as we talked about. She gets on base any way she can, and that is a frequent way that she does it.
Yeah, and it looks like Coach Irwin is actually, he's going to talk to the umpire, and he's going to say that she actually was offering at the ball, and that's why she got hit. You know, one thing that we've seen with Jazz Palmer, she doesn't get hit by a lot of pitches. It looks like she has some padding there. She's actually wearing a shin guard on her forearm, and they have to wrap it up to make sure, you know, it doesn't hurt anyone if she slides in or anything. But it looks like she took it off that padding on her arm, and she will be awarded first base.
That shin guard on your forearm makes it a little bit easier to take those balls without moving your arms out of the way. I'm sure it still hurts.
Yeah, and that's on her back arm, which is so weird. You don't usually see a lot of people getting hit on their front arm, and you'll see every UNCG batter wears an Evo shield on their front elbow, but Jazz Palmer kept getting hit on her back elbow, which is pretty infrequent. So that's why, you know, athletic trainer did a great job rigging a contraption up to protect her arm, because she was getting pretty beat up on that back elbow, which is also her throwing elbow.
So is it every time the shin guard is retaped? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's a shin guard, and they just put some padding around it, put some tape around it, something squishy.
Yeah.
So if she were to come in contact with someone, it wouldn't hurt them. You're not allowed to have anything really. Yeah, you're not allowed to have anything really super hard.
Yeah.
But she needs it for protection.
Yeah. Well, she certainly gets hit enough to justify needing protection. Alexis over deep, up to bat. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball outside.
Fadnick's still working that outside portion of the plate. She saw success last time Lex was up, and working that outside corner against Lex. Lex has really come on toward the end of the season. She's been doing really well in the 2 spot.
And little chopper, it's going to go foul. If she'd gotten it just a little bit over, I think that she would have been able to run that out. Rise ball, outside and high. See Fadnick getting a little bit frustrated. I can always tell with pitchers by among other things, by the way they act right when they get the ball back from the catcher. You see the catcher throws it, Vodnik almost snaps her glove at it and turns around really quickly. So she's frustrated, I don't think, with that call. I think that she isn't getting her pitch where she wants it to be.
And that was a great at bat. Lex Overdeep draws the walk with 2 outs. Great at bat. She worked the count. And that's as good as a base hit.
Sometimes, I think when pitchers are especially prone to getting frustrated, I think sometimes that's a lot better. Just because it gets the pitchers more in their head to give up walks like that to someone who's not a power hitter than to give up a little base hit. Gabrielle Cubbage now up to bat. Cubbage with the .285 average. All the way in the back of the box. Change up, called for a strike. That's a good pitch from Vodnik.
That was a dirty change up. I think that's the first one that we've seen.
I think she threw one
all day.
One in the first inning. But she doesn't throw it very often.
No, that was pretty nasty.
And line drive up the center. It will drop. Cubbage has a base hit. Rounding is Palmer, and Palmer runs in for the first run of the game. RBI from Gabrielle Cubbage. Jasmine Palmer uses those deadly wheels of hers to take 2 bases and have the first run of the game. Spartans take the lead.
And that's exactly what you want to see right there from your number 3 hitter, Gabby Cubbage. Line shot up the middle. You know, I was just looking a couple batters ago thinking, hey, the outfielders are pretty far back. They're not, you know, they're giving us a whole lot of green in front of them.
And hard ground ball from Marissa Schultz, fielded by the first baseman, and that will end the inning for the Spartans, but it was a productive one. The Spartans have the first run of the game. Their first hit of the game results in a run.
So for the bottom of the 3rd inning, 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, 2 left on base. We'll be back for the top of the 4th.
Human beings can be hungry anytime they please. Maybe you messed up and didn't eat enough lunch. Perhaps dinner is very far away. It doesn't matter. Come to Arby's and solve your hunger problems with dollar sliders, cookies, small-sized fries, drinks, and shakes, each for $1 from 2 to 5 p.m., not a.m. Arby's, we have the meat.
Some of the changes I've seen myself since I've been here at UNCG is just, I've been really challenged. I've been really encouraged to come out of my comfort zone.
As a professor, what I feel is most important is to find that passion.
If you have this dream of doing something bigger for the world, but you don't know how to get there, this is the place where you go to figure it out.
It's the top of the 4th inning here in Greensboro, North Carolina, as UNCG and ETSU continue to face off in the first game of a 3-game series. Bizanski on the mound so far has given up no runs. The Spartans finally cracked 1 run in the bottom of the 3rd inning off an RBI that sent Jasmine Palmer in. It was Gabrielle Cubbage with the hit.
It was great execution by the Spartans in the bottom of the 3rd. Jazz Palmer came up with 2 outs and got hit by a pitch. Lex Overdeep worked the count to draw a walk. Gabrielle Cubbage, your number 3 hitter, comes up, gets a base hit, scores a run for the Spartans. Sometimes all it takes is 1 hit to score a run. That's what we saw in the bottom of the 3rd.
And really, so far it has been a pitcher's duel. And I think at some point we're going to see either or both offenses crack open, and there's a hit.
And that was another hit from Kelsey Smith, who has the lowest batting average in this East Tennessee lineup, and she got a base hit her first at bat too.
So Kelsey
She's
Smith
2 for 2 on the day
with 167 seems to be the Achilles heel for Alicia Bizanski so far. Out of 3 hits, 2 of them have been from Kelsey Smith.
Pitch running for the Buccaneers, number 24, Maya Mathis. Coming up to bat, the shortstop, number 2, Kelsey Sherdan.
And we'll see here, with a runner on first base and no outs, we'll see if East Tennessee decides that they want to try to manufacture a run. We've seen them twice before in this game try to bunt. And they were both unsuccessful. Both times they tried to bunt.
And Kelsey Chernick, this was actually the first batter that we saw in a bunting situation where we talked about it and she didn't bunt. And that wasn't back in.
And she actually ended up hitting into a double play because she wasn't able to get the bunt down.
And hard ground ball up the middle. Bazonsky not able to get it. Goes through the gap. Aquaviva able to scoop it up and throw it into Palmer, but there are already 2 base hits this inning. That one right up the middle, right past the legs of Bazonsky.
We'll see Coach Tracy Lynch coming out to talk to the Boz and also talk to the Spartan defense. Two base hits, one in the 5-6 hole, one up the middle.
But hard hit balls.
They were hard hit balls, but it's not like they're hitting doubles off the fence.
True.
So in this situation, she's probably out there. She's probably saying, hey, they're just little base hits. We were in this situation last inning. We worked out of it. Rely on your defense. Relax. Try to get the lead runner at third base.
Now batting, the catcher, number 18, Kylie Toller.
Kylie Toller now, freshman catcher with a .207 batting average. Up to bat for ETSU.
And it looks like the umpire just gave the East Tennessee dugout a warning. I'm not sure because I can't pick up what's happening out there, but they might have been using an illegal noisemaker. In softball, a rule was put in this year that you're not allowed to use any objects as a noisemaker. So you're not allowed to use balls to beat on a bucket or balls to beat on a wooden part of the dugout. You can only use your hands and your voices, and I think that's what the umpire just walked over and gave them a warning. And they've been enforcing that. I actually, when they implemented that rule, I was like, there's no way they'll be able to enforce that. But they've actually been enforcing it. I've seen it a few times just with the UNCG games.
Bunt attempt for the second time. 2 strikes. So you're right. You called that, Kelly, that they are not a strong bunting team.
Yeah, usually when you get a run in the game of softball, when you get a runner on first base with no outs,
you're bunting.
You're usually going to bunt because you're going to try to manufacture a run. And in this situation, you got a runner on first and second with no outs, and you want to get them both in scoring position. And when you don't see that,
and that'll be a single up the middle. Runner turning. There won't be a throw. Aquaviva doesn't throw, but instead charges the runner on second base, and that will be the tying run so far scored in. So 1-1 ball game.
But that was a good thought from Emily Aquaviva. The runner coming around third base was already halfway down the line. I don't think Aquaviva would have had a shot at getting her out.
Yeah.
And you don't want the runner from second to advance to third.
Yeah.
So she did the right thing. She was pretty far off second base. She did the right thing just running at her. So runners on first and second. Spartan defense will go back to work. The Boz will go back to work to try to get an out here.
So 3 singles, and all 3 of them have been in a similar area. That first one in the 5-6 hole, and then 2 right up the middle, and that'll be a ball in the air to Schultes, who's able to get the out on that, tries to go around and get the runner caught, but she doesn't get her in time. So 1 out. The Spartans are starting to see a way out of this inning. Runners on first and second. Top of the lineup. And Makia Johnson, center field, up to bat. Makia had that line drive out to Gabrielle Cubbage, and then she walked.
So the Spartans have already turned 2 double plays during this game alone. We'll see if they can turn 1 more and get out of this inning.
So far, we really haven't seen a lot of power in this game. The pitchers are doing a good job of making it hard to get a good piece of the ball.
Well, the furthest ball that we saw hit was that ball hit by Becky Kale to the fence.
Strike. Pretty pitch inside part of the plate. Pretty indisputable that one would be called a strike.
That's a great place to put that ball. Right over that inside corner.
Ground ball to Bazonsky, throws to Cubbage. Cubbage throws back to Schultes. And the Spartans not quite able to make the double play. This time you can hear frustration in the crowd mics from everyone around the stadium. Pretty play from UNCG all around.
It was a great play, great execution. Johnson just beat it out by a half a step there. And that, I mean, that's exactly what the Spartans were looking for.
Nikki Grupp, the second baseman, up to bat. She is all the way in the back of the box trying to get away from a little bit of Bazonsky's speed. And that drop on the outside corner a little bit too low. Kale fakes to make a throw. The runner on second base taking a little bit too big of a lead for Kale's liking. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs, runners on first and second, tied ball game, 1-1. And it looked like a drop curve called for a ball. Now 3 balls, Bazonsky has to get a strike.
And, yeah, Boz really needs to work on this batter because the last thing she wants is to walk the bases loaded and have the number 3 hitter for East Tennessee up.
And she walks her 4 straight balls, that one too high. Now the bases are loaded.
So Knutsa is up to bat, the most dangerous hitter in the SoCon, one of the most dangerous hitters in the SoCon, lead the SoCon with 10 home runs. She's 0 for 2 on the day. So in this situation, she's due for a hit. And the Boz is going to have to be tough right here and really bear down and work on her because she's going to be a tough out, even though she's gotten her out twice already. This is her 3rd time seeing the Boz.
And that last pitch, Boz was overthrowing a little bit on that one, throwing her shoulder a little bit. Maybe trying to get a little bit more power on the ball. Maybe a little bit of that frustration starting to come out. Or it might not even be frustration. It might just be trying to make a correction, trying to figure out, how to get that pitch. But now she's thrown 6 straight balls. And bases are loaded. 2 outs. 1-1 ball game. And there's the strike. Bazonsky finds the spot on the outside part of the plate. There's ball 3. 2 outside, Bazonsky struggling. So she needs to get a strike here or
she walks in a run.
Yep, she walks in the run in a tied ball game. And she's able to get the strike there. Bazonsky fighting back. The count is now full. That looked like a drop on the outside part of the plate.
So full count, 2 outs. Plays at first base here if the ball's hit to the infield. Runners are leaving with the pitch.
And strike
her out.
3. Alicia Bazonsky on that drop curve, able to come in a clutch strikeout where she really, really needed it and able to get the job done.
In the top of the 4th inning, we have 1 run on 3 hits. No errors, 3 runners left on base. We'll be back for the bottom of the 4th.
And your Spartans will be back in action after the approximate 30-minute break following this game. For more information, check
Add
out our
big
website,
flavor to your next get-together with Subway Catering, featuring good-to-go boxed meals with a side and freshly baked cookie, crowd-pleasing giant subs, and piled-high sandwich platters overflowing with flavorific choices. All made the way you say with everything you love, like jalapenos and Chipotle Southwest sauce. Subway Catering is simple and satisfying, a great value for any budget. Just call 877-360-CATER or visit Subway.com and let us take care of any occasion. Subway, cater fresh.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Rachel McClaskey will lead off the bottom of the 4th inning for the Spartans. The game is tied 1-1, and so far not a lot of offense has happened, but McClaskey looking to get it started as this is a very, very important game.
McClaskey last week was the SoCon Player of the Week. Last weekend, she had a .545 batting average, 7 RBIs, and she scored 3 runs. So we'll see if she can turn her last at bat around and get on base as a leadoff batter.
Right now, she has the hot bat for the Spartans, so good time for her to bring that back out. Strike.
We have joked that the SoCon Player of the Week has been the kiss of death for the Spartans, though. Every player that has gotten SoCon Player of the Week the previous week has cooled off.
And that ball is
not the case for Rachel
McClaskey. Rachel McClaskey, fist pump as she goes, rounds first base, and it is already out of the park by then. Rachel McClaskey with a beauty over the right field fence. Kiss of death maybe all season long, but not in this case. Rachel McClaskey was not pleased with that description.
Nope. She said, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Home run for Rachel McClaskey.
And that was out of the park in a hurry.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as it left the bat, I knew that one was long gone. I think that one might have gone over to into the construction area behind the softball field.
That was a bullet.
That was tagged.
So now Tori Wright will try to continue what McClaskey started in the bottom of the 4th inning, so still 0 outs. And UNCG is a very good home run team. They have more than anyone else in the Southern Conference.
And we've talked about this before on our other broadcast. Anyone in this lineup, with the exception of Alexis Overdeep, because she is a slap hitter, can hit a home run at any given time. And we saw that. I mean, it was 7, 8, 9 hitters, I think, were up, and they hit back-to-back-to-back home runs one game. So this Spartan lineup, up and down, they have power.
So they average 1.13 per game, which is obviously first in the Southern Conference, but it's also 8th nationally. So there are only 7 teams that average more home runs a game.
And that's a big deal. When
you're
talking about nationally, you're talking about Florida, Alabama, LSU.
Yeah, Michigan.
Oh,
and that could have been a tough situation, but ends up getting an out as they're able to communicate. Those plays are always a little bit scary because they are those plays that you are absolutely expected to make every time, but they are so much harder than they look, and the communication can get very, very tricky.
Yeah, and that ball was actually looks like it was in foul territory, and it blew back into fair territory. So if that ball would have dropped and someone would have touched it, and Tori Wright could have been safe on first base, and she didn't even run to first base. So it was an odd play all around there.
Sydney Gerkman now up to bat. Gerkman has a .297 average. One ball, one strike, one out, no one on. Spartans have a 1-run lead.
And Sid's really come on and gotten hot at the plate in the last half of the season. You know, the first half of the season, she wasn't really even in the lineup. And she fought her way into the lineup and proved that she could hit the ball. We've seen her actually DPing a lot, which means she just hit. That's how Coach Brenneman used the DP in that situation. And today we see her starting in right field, and she has an absolute cannon of an arm. And
Whoa! Looks like there's a dust storm.
Got a little dust storm out there.
And it is windy. The wind blowing out of the stadium, so this would be a good time to get the ball in the air.
Unfortunately, Sid's a left-handed hitter, though, and it's blowing out toward left field, so she'd have to go oppo. We don't really see Sid go oppo a whole lot. It could happen, though.
Change up. So that change up is rare, but it's pretty close to the zone every time she throws it.
Sid did a good job holding off on that because it looked like a great pitch. It was just a little high.
Full count. And Sydney Gerkman swings and misses on that strikeout. Great pitch, tons of movement from Fodnick.
Coming to the plate, good catcher, number 2, Rebecca Kell.
Rebecca Kale now up to bat, and Kale had that long shot that was an out, but that was the farthest, like you said, the farthest we've seen up until McClaskey hit that home run.
Now, if she hits it in the same place she hit it last time, the wind will probably help it carry out because the wind's blowing pretty hard now. Like we said, it's blowing out toward left field. She was up last. The wind had died down a little bit.
Change up for a ball from Fodnick.
And we see Fodnick throwing that changeup a little more frequently now. She's thrown it to the past 3 batters. 4 batters if you count Gabby Cubbage.
Ball up in the air, foul ball, and that'll be caught in the air from the third baseman. Kale heads back to the dugout. The Spartans got 1 this inning, but are only up by 1 too, so it's going to be a tight game the rest of the way.
1 run scored on 1 hit. No errors, no one left on. We'll be back for the top of the 5th.
Human beings can be hungry anytime they please. Maybe you messed up and didn't eat enough lunch. Perhaps dinner is very far away. It doesn't matter. Come to Arby's and solve your hunger problems with dollar sliders, cookies, small-size fries, drinks, and shakes, each for $1 from 2 to 5 p.m., not a.m. Arby's, we have the meat.
Some of the changes I've seen myself since I've been here at UNCG is just, I've been really challenged. I've been really encouraged to come out of my comfort zone.
As a professor, what I feel is most important is to find that passion.
You have this dream of doing something bigger for the world, but you don't know how to get there. This is a place where you go to figure it out.
The top of the 5th inning here at UNCG softball stadium. Bazonsky's still on the mound for the Spartans, and Fodnick still on the mound for ETSU. The Spartans have a 1-run lead. It is 2-1. There were no runs scored in the first 2.5 innings, and then the Spartans got there first, and it's been 1-1-1 since. And none of it. The last run from the Spartans was power, but other than that, this has been a small ball game.
Yeah, definitely not what we were expecting. I was expecting a slugfest. Like, I was ready to see some offense going, just knowing what UNCG is capable of, and on paper, looking at what ETSU is capable of, I was ready for an awesome offensive game. Nice, exciting game, but
I was looking for a few dingers.
maybe they're saving them up.
Maybe. They still have two and a half, essentially, full games in this series. And that'll be a
Little flare single
right over the head of Jasmine Palmer, and Sydney Girkman able to scoop it up. Just a good piece of hitting right there.
Yeah, a little flare single. She went with the pitch as a pitch on the outside corner of the plate. Tiffany Lauren did a great job going with it. And little flare single out to right.
Taylor Carter now up to bat. First baseman. And Kale does a good job of scooping that one up. Throws it back for the tag. Doesn't need it, but Kale, that ball dropped really quickly, and Kale was able to stay in front of it.
And Carter's last two at bats, she grounded out to second base. So the Boz will definitely be looking to capitalize on that again, and the Spartans will be looking to, for another ground ball to second base, trying to turn their third double play of the game.
And she thinks about swinging.
And the umpire said she did go.
1 ball, 1 strike. Taylor Carter needs to make an adjustment at this point. Third time seeing Boz, she's done the same thing twice in a row. This is the time for her to figure out how to fix it. And overthrow from Kale. Boz jumps to get it, and luckily McClaskey right there, big smile on her face as she turns around and throws it back to Bazonsky.
And that's why it's so important for those middle infielders to be moving every pitch. Because that could have easily, had Rachel not been there, that goes into center field, and you could have a runner on second base.
Throw back from Kale.
And Tiffany Lauren ETSU doesn't steal a whole lot of bases, but Tiffany Lauren is 3 for 3 on the year. So
she's got some wheels.
They're trying to keep an eye on her there. Keeping her honest. She does have a big lead. She's a really big lead coming off of first.
Explain a couple of Kale's throwdowns.
Yeah, she's by the end of it, she's out past Marissa Schultes.
And ground ball to Cubbage, who throws it to second. Palmer to first. Another double play, the third double play of the game for the Spartans. Phenomenal defense so far. That was just pretty.
And we'll have to see. I mean, it's pretty atypical to get a double play in softball.
Yeah.
Because it's such a short field. And 3 double plays in one game. We'll have to check a stat on that. That might be close to tying a school record or something like that.
It's certainly not something you see very often. I mean, really in softball, you might watch an entire game, so you'll see 14 appearances in the field.
And you'll never see a double play.
Not see it. Yeah, so to see 3 from just one team, and so far, I mean, ETSU's seen the field now 5 times.
Yeah, 4 2/3 innings.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Ground ball to Palmer, who makes the throw and
good
is
play.
able. Schultes makes the stretch, almost falls over, but she's able to stick on the end of the bag, and another out, and she's called safe. They did it again, and McClaskey runs to go to second, and as she stole second, so ETSU now with a little bit of momentum from that was very interesting in the way that was handled, and I think there will definitely be some conversations about that because he was called out, and then they were back in the dugout. It's not like they reviewed it or anything. You got 2 different calls from each umpire.
Yeah, it was originally called an out.
Yeah.
What an odd play. I was writing on my score sheet.
Yeah,
done with the inning, and I looked up and I see someone running to second base.
Yeah, so
I saw the umpire make the call.
Exactly, and that's what they saw too. Is the umpire made the call, she was called out. They went back, celebrated, went back into the dugout, and then the ETSU coach got a second opinion, and then she was called safe. But that should have happened in a council. Like that should have happened.
It's a dead, and it should be in that situation. It should be a dead ball.
Yeah,
I would think. There's no way that she can advance because it was appealed from the ETSU dugout. So the original call was out. They should have met as a crew,
they need to
then
talk about
overturn it
together.
into dead ball. So that runner, yes, they can overturn it and call her safe.
Correct,
but she
has
should
to go
not
back
be on
to
second
first.
base.
Yeah.
If my softball rules are correct in my brain. I don't have the book in front of me, but me being in the game for as long as I've been in the game for, I believe that's the correct call.
I've never seen that scenario before.
It should be a dead ball in that situation. There shouldn't be a runner on second base. She should be on first. And you can hear
a lot of anger
the
from
UNCG
the
fans are livid.
They are livid. Because that's a ridiculous call. I mean, that really is.
She should be on first base, but human error. Yeah. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
The human error of the game.
And I think in softball and baseball, you can count on at least one bad call game. Just, they don't see everything. Umps aren't perfect, and that was certainly a very flawed call. But the Spartans are going to have to adjust and get the third out now with a runner on second.
The Spartans will have to buckle down here and get this third out.
And drop ball too low for Bazonsky. 2 balls and no strikes.
And you can still hear
the
Spartan contingent.
Call. Yeah, it's
They are still pretty angry.
Yes.
To say the least.
Well, because it's a one-run ball game, and that runner just got in scoring position.
And we already talked about how big this series is.
And Bazonsky misses her spot on that one. Now 3 straight balls. Bazonsky probably rattled from that too. I imagine all the Spartans are.
Yeah, that can get in your head a little bit, and as an athlete, you have to be able to shift from one gear to the other and not let things like that bother you.
Hard ground ball to McClaskey. That ball goes right under her legs, and a runner will score on that. Overdeep makes the throw, but she is safe, and now that runner ties up the game again, and you can just imagine how Spartans and the coaching staff are absolutely fuming. You can just see the coaches in the dugout just shaking their head, just cold anger right there from UNCG's coaches bench.
And that's tough. I mean, that's tough for the Spartans. Like we talked about, no one's perfect. That's the human error of the game. And sometimes, you have to roll with the punches.
And that will be an error called on Rachel McClaskey. So first pitch strike from Bazonsky with Kylie Toller up to bat. Wow, that is a very, very frustrating incident for the Spartans.
And right now the Spartans need to stop the East Tennessee momentum. East Tennessee has all the momentum on their side right now. And right now the Spartans need to get this out, get back on the dugout, and get the bats going again.
I think a strikeout looking would do that for the Spartans right now.
A strikeout would definitely stop the momentum.
And Bazonsky taunts on the outside part of the plate, way too outside, but it's good giving a different look for Kylie Toller.
Kylie Toller's last at bat, she had a base hit up the middle. She's 1 for 2 on the day.
And ground ball, foul to the third base side of the field. Bazonsky still ahead in the count. And you can
Jazz
still
Palmer.
hear people yelling.
Jazz Palmer's out there encouraging Boz, saying, hey, we got to work through this. This is the hand that we were dealt. We got to work through it, and you can do it.
Yeah. Thinking about that play will not do any good now. But at the same time, I see how it's pretty impossible not to be like, Spartans had the lead, and then a call like that gets a runner in scoring position off of what everyone thought was an out.
It should have been a dead ball and a runner on first base.
Yeah. Swings on that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's tough. See the umpire walking out to Boz, just going to hand the ball to her after Becca Kale took that one off of what looked like the arm or the hand. Umpires and catchers got to look out for each other sometimes.
They have a little bit of a bond.
Yeah, they
take a lot of heat back there.
Yeah.
And catchers do the same thing for umpires. If the ump gets hurt, the catcher will kind of, dwaddle a little bit up to the mound to give the umpire a little bit of time to, deal with the Charlie horse that's probably starting to form. And ground ball to Cubbage, who makes the throw, and it'll be an out. Schultes definitely keeps her foot on the bag this time, and UNCG gets out of that inning. 1 run scores. The game is tied, but there are still 2 complete innings in this game.
So in the top of the 5th inning, 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 1 left on base. We'll be back for the bottom of the Spartan 5th.
The road to Omaha begins in Greenville, South Carolina. The Southern Conference Baseball Tournament comes to Fluor Field May 23rd through 28th. Enjoy some great college baseball with a trip to the NCAA's on the line in a city the New York Times calls one of the top places to go in 2017. Get your tickets to the tournament and book your rooms in that Greenville today. Experience the games. Explore the city.
These are the student athletes. This is where they train. These are their homes. This is where they become Rhodes Scholars and academic All-Americans. These are the athletes they've always admired. This is where champions are crowned and moments are made. This is the Southern Conference.
UNCG will need to bounce back in the 5th inning. After that, I mean, we are still in the 5th, so really they have 3 at-bats left. But that was a very, very frustrating incident for them. And there's still a little bit of ruckus going on about it, but fortunately we're at a good part of the lineup to get some runs in with Aqua Viva in that 9 spot, which you said is basically just another leadoff batter, and then Jasmine Palmer up next.
And this is the part of the lineup that we saw the Spartans, score their first run off of, and they're gonna look to stop the momentum that East Tennessee has right now. That is huge to have momentum on your side. That's the X factor in a lot of games. And we'll see how the Spartans react to adversity here.
And rise ball outside. Viva watches it sail high.
And in working with the Spartans, it's kind of my job to put them through a little adversity. And in the fall, I make things as tough as possible as I can on them, because when they get in situations like this, they can remember, hey, Coach Self made us run the stadium, X amount of times.
Yeah.
And it's one of the worst workouts we've ever done, and we got through that. So we can get through this.
You can get through a bad call that tied up the game.
They've definitely prepared for this all year long. There's no doubt in my mind that they'll come through.
Viva pops that one up. It's going to first base side. Catcher makes the play. Not the way the Spartans wanted to start off that inning, but Palmer's pretty solid no matter how many outs there are in the inning, so Palmer can try to pick up where Aqua Viva was not able to get on.
Last time up at bat, Jazz Palmer was hit by a pitch, and her first at bat, she lined out to the shortstop, so she'll look to record her first hit of the day in her 3rd at bat.
Watches the first one go by as a ball. Another ball, 2 balls. Jasmine Palmer with that great eye that she has.
Shout out to Mr. McClaskey, Rachel's dad's, listening to us online and sending us tweets about that crazy play that we had in the top of the 5th. Thanks, Mr. McClaskey, for the confirmation on the rules there.
And Mr. McClaskey, we can tell you that you are not alone in your frustration at that play, as you can still hear a little bit of buzz from Spartan fans who are here live.
And we see she's going to that changeup a whole lot right now.
More
and
towards the end of the game, yeah.
And it's a good strategy because you get the hitters, they're seeing your regular speed stuff, and like I said, she's probably throwing low 60s, I would say.
I would think so,
And then
yeah.
that changeup, she's probably
It's
got a
slow.
10-mile-an-hour drop
Yeah.
on it.
Whew, that one was close. Palmer able to take the walk, so Palmer's done a lot of getting on the bases today.
Which is not atypical of her.
No, she really does do that well, and so she had that line drive out, hit by pitch, and this walk.
Number 4,
Alexis Overdeep now, and Overdeep had a ground out to the third baseman in the first inning, and she had a walk in the third.
And Lex had a great at bat, and that actually is kind of what led to the Spartans scoring that run. Lex worked the count in her favor and drew the walk, and Cubbage came up and got a base hit with that runner in scoring position. Without Lex working the count and drawing the walk, Jazz Palmer wouldn't have been in scoring position. But we'll see if Lex can put Jazz Palmer in scoring position again for Gabby Cubbage coming up behind her.
And we'll see if Fodnick can make the correction that she didn't last time, giving up free bases to the 1 and 2 spot in UNCG's lineup.
And it looks like Fodnick's kind of like all over the place. Like, she's been pretty on for most of the game, but she might be getting tired. She seems to be throwing a lot more pitches. And I noticed last inning, the UNCG hitters were going, seeing a lot more pitches from her.
Well, I think she looks tired, just in the way that she is coming off the mound. I think that there's a lot of variance in the speed of her pitches, not counting off speed or whatever, just in general. It's like some pitches she gets enough push on her leg and some she doesn't, and that is definitely a sign of fatigue for pitchers.
Looks like there's been a lot of drop-off.
And a little ground ball from Overdeep, and she'll make it, and she is called safe. Just runs that out. Great play from Alexis Overdeep. Palmer on second, Overdeep on first, Cubbage up to bat, and you know that Fodnick will not like the look of this situation once again.
And that was a great hit. That's exactly where Alexis Overdeep wants to put the ball. She drove the ball straight down into the ground. Just looking at this field all year round, this field is a very hard field, and if you hit it straight into the ground around home plate, it's going to bounce straight up. Can't fight gravity, and Alexis Overdeep is able to leg that out for an infield base hit.
And Gabby Cubbage now takes the first ball low and outside, and timeout called for the battery.
Run the bases! Run the bases!
And you can hear Spartan fans yelling, "Run the bases," and you see everyone in the dugout turn around and laugh, give a little bit of an endearing thumbs up to the crowd for those comments, keeping everything light around here, making sure everyone knows that it's a game and you're supposed to have fun.
The Spartans do have a great fan base. I will say that. When I'm not calling games, I love sitting out in the stands. I come to every single game. I enjoy watching the game of softball, but I enjoy talking to the fans even more because they are very educated on the game of softball, and they are very passionate about the Spartans and the Spartans winning.
Cubbage swings at that rise ball, tips it off, but you can see her turn around and almost give herself a little shake of frustration because she knows that wasn't her pitch and she wasted a strike on that. She just wants to repeat what she did last time.
Yep, just a little adjustment for Gabby.
And changeup gone wild. You see a smile from Fodnick, who as soon as she let that go knew that it was long gone, way off of where her release point should have been.
And her first couple of changeups, she's thrown for a strike, now it seems that she can't find that release point.
And hit up, and that will
trouble,
and she is able to get on base. Still to be determined if that will be called an error, because that would have been a tough one to judge. It kind of was hard to tell when it would have dropped, and shortstop tried to handle it, but really wasn't able to get it. It bounced and then hopped really high. And
that was kind of put in the Bermuda Triangle right behind the pitcher's mound.
And Wright was able to outrun it.
Hey. And we'll have to check with the official scorekeeper to see if it's scored as an error or as a hit, but I would personally score it as a hit because no one really touched the ball. It hit the ground.
And bases loaded for the Spartans.
Bases loaded with your number 4 hitter up.
Marissa Schultes
leading the team in batting
with a
average.
347. Sophomore power lefty. Pretty intimidating batter to have up there with the bases loaded.
This is a great spot for the Spartans to be in right now. Even though we just saw Marissa Schultes go down, she's down 0-2 in the count right now. Anything in the green will score 2 runs for the Spartans.
And she fouls that changeup off up behind her, so protecting. So now Fodnick knows that Schultes can foul off that changeup. Probably won't throw that again, because if you can foul it off, odds are you can hit it the next time with changeups.
And in this
she struck her out on a rise ball, but that rise ball got past her and was a drop third. So her best pitch is a little bit scary to throw on Schultes. And that will be fair ball.
Fair ball.
Schultes didn't run, but over deep. Palmer already scored. Cubbage coming around. Cubbage
first
scores.
base.
And Schultes on second base. And if she would have known that that was fair, she would have had 3. But regardless, she scored all 3 of them on that play. And that was...
We'll see a conference here. The Spartans did exactly what East Tennessee did. They kept running the bases.
They did.
And there's going to be a conference. We're going to see if it was fair or foul. Let's see how we can score it and see if the Spartans go up. And that's a fair ball. So it will stand.
Piece of hitting from Marissa Schultes, who gets that right up the left field line and scores all 3 of those runners. All 3 of them have speed. And you can see Coach Irwin
Coach
just
Irwin is
fuming.
hot. Coach Brenneman's coming out to argue now.
And here's the thing, is like all of this heat, we're on game 1. There are 3 of these this weekend.
Well, everyone knows the implications that this series has on winning the regular season, getting the #1 seed, getting that all-important bye in the conference tournament. If you get a bye in the conference tournament, that's 1 less game you have to play. That's 1 less game your pitchers have to pitch. That's 1 more day of rest that you can have as a team. So that's huge. And most people here, I would say, know the implication that this has. And I guess it was overturned. It was a foul ball. All the runners are returning to the bases.
Well, the Spartans are not getting the luck of the draw today with the umpires. That is, I mean, we talked about the momentum switching, and they just seem to give UNCG momentum, and then it keeps getting sucked away. But hey, Schultes knows she can do it.
Like we talked about at the beginning of the inning, they've faced adversity, and they can come through this.
It's just weird to me that the umpires are making calls and then taking them back so frequently. And hard ground ball right up the middle. Palmer scores, over deep scores.
Great execution.
Cubbage stays on second and Schultes on first. Single 2-run RBI from Schultes, who basically said to the umpires, I don't care, you take it away, whatever. I'm still scoring my team.
Great execution from the Spartans, and like we talked about, coming through adversity, and they're showing right here that they can get through anything, even when the deck is stacked against them.
And that has to be so satisfying, really, for the Spartan dugout.
So now we see the momentum flip.
And you see Palmer out to take the base for Schultes. Nope. Bieberly out to take the base for Schultes. Palmer running back in with Schultes. Right. Giving Schultes a little tap on the head, and the dugout just very.
Palmer plays with so much passion. I love watching her play. Like, it is a privilege to watch Jasmine Palmer play. And we just saw her running out on the field because she's so hyped up that Marissa came through in that situation.
She just wanted to run out and greet her.
After she had 3 RBIs taken away from her, that hit on the third base line overturned, and she comes through and hits a ball up the middle and gets 2 RBIs. And Palmer is so passionate about this game. She plays with so much passion. It's really fun to watch her.
And Rachel McClaskey now, who had a home run last. Not someone that Fodnick wants to see either. In this situation, there's still 2 runners on base on first and second.
We'll see if Rachel can build off that home run that she just hit, her last at bat, and also the last weekend that she had. She had 7 RBIs last weekend, so we'll see if she can, get a couple more here. at least one more.
She's who you want up with runners in scoring position if you're a blue and gold fan. And hard shot foul up the right field line from McClaskey, and the Spartans are making all kinds of contact.
And, you know, as I just talked about Jazz Palmer playing with a lot of passion, and you can see her emotions on the field, Rachel's actually kind of the opposite of Jazz Palmer. Rachel flies under the radar. She takes care of her business, and she quietly gets things done. So, but that's also another type of player that I enjoy watching too. Those quiet players who sometimes you may not notice them, but they take care of business.
2 balls, 2 strikes. She fouled the last one off, 1 out. 2 runners on. The Spartans are up by 2 runs, but it has been a back and forth game, so 2 runs is not enough insurance to get them through the next 2 2/3 innings.
No lead is ever safe when you're facing an offensive team like East Tennessee. And you can see the frustration on Fodnick's face. She can't believe that changeup was not called a strike.
Yeah. She leaned over, put her hands on her knees, and just smiled in disbelief.
And as a pitcher, you don't really want to do that because the umpire's like,
thinks that you're.
The umpire sees it.
Yeah.
The umpire's like, oh, you're getting sassy with me.
Yeah. And up to left field from McClaskey, and a diving play from the left fielder out of bounds, but she drops it just out of her glove.
And that was a great effort from the left fielder. And it was in her glove. It just popped out. So Rachel McClaskey gets another life here.
Count is full now. And fouled off from Rachel McClaskey, forcing this at-bat to extend. And hard ground ball to the shortstop. Turned on it, gets
fielder's choice.
Cubbage out at third base, but 2 outs, still runners on first and second.
Up to bat, the designated player, number 24,
Tori Wright now up to bat.
Tori's going to look to get something going here. She's 0 for 2 on the day.
And fouls that off.
That was her pitch. Anything inside to Tori Wright is if you're a pitcher, it's pretty dangerous for you to throw Tori Wright inside because her hands are so quick through the zone, and she can just crush the ball on an inside pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike.
She wanted that pitch.
She did.
She wanted that. That was that inside pitch, and she took a hard hack at it.
Now she has to protect. And called change up, called strike 3. Tori Wright unhappy with that call, and the Spartans out of the 5th inning and up 2 runs at this
point. In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Spartans had 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. We'll be back for the top of the 6th.
Add big flavor to your next get-together with Subway Catering, featuring good-to-go boxed meals with a side and freshly baked cookie, crowd-pleasing giant subs, and piled-high sandwich platters overflowing with flavorific choices. All made the way you say with everything you love, like jalapenos and Chipotle Southwest sauce. Subway Catering is simple and satisfying, a great value for any budget. Just call 877-360-CATER or visit Subway.com and let us take care of any occasion. Subway, cater fresh.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, You need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Top of the 6th inning, ETSU now up to bat. Bazonsky on the mound, and it has been a rocky game of a few questionable calls and just a lot of back and forth play so far. And Kelly, it's been a dramatic game.
Yeah, and like we mentioned before, this is only the first game of this series.
Mallory Sure gets a piece of that ball, so no balls, 1 strike, as that one is fouled off. Ball outside part of the plate. That one was a little bit tight. Almost hit her. Alicia Bazonsky taking back the inside of that plate and all of that river.
And Meg, you just mentioned that, there's a lot of emotions going into this game, and it's important as a pitcher, and it's important for the Boz to kind of rein in those emotions.
Ground ball to Cubbage, who's able to scoop it up, makes the throw. Schultz gets the dig, keeps her foot on the bag, and gets the out. Great play all around from the Spartans. It took a group effort on that one.
You saw the umpire hesitate for a minute. It took him a minute to call that out. I think he was making sure Marissa didn't pull her foot in that situation. But as I was saying before, there's a lot of emotions going on. Before the game, there's a lot of emotions. It's senior week.
Yeah.
On top of everything else, the implications of this game. And it's important as a pitcher to be able to, kind of rein it in a little bit and really focus on what you're doing. You don't want to get your emotions you don't want your emotions to get the best of you if you're in the circle or anywhere on the field in general, but it's even more important for a pitcher.
Micaiah Johnson, center fielder. She had a line drive out, a walk, and a ground ball out, and both balls have been towards third base, so she has a tendency to turn on the ball. Two balls, no strikes.
Johnson just asked for timeout there.
She
thought that Boz was taking too long. And the umpire does not have to grant the batter timeout.
Yeah.
That's if he doesn't think it's warranted, he doesn't have to give it to her. So that was good for Boz to keep working through her pitch. And she got a strike in that situation.
And for Micaiah Johnson, I mean, a good adjustment in that she didn't look too frazzled, that even if she had not called for time, I think that she would have taken that pitch as well. So, like, for a batter to do that, not get the time, and then be able to still stay composed on the next pitch is difficult, too. And beautiful drop curve from Alicia Bazonsky, who sends Micaiah Johnson walking back after a strikeout looking.
And that's the Boz's third strikeout of the game. First looking.
Now batting, the second baseman.
And I think that all three of those have been on drop curves.
That's actually the other two strikeouts were actually against Danielle Knutsa. So all coming from those top of the lineup batters. Boz is really dialed in on them.
Yeah. So Nikki Grupp now, second baseman up to bat. Little chopper to Gabby Cubich, who fires it, gets the out. 3 outs for the Spartans, and they get out of the 5th inning, the 6th inning, unscathed.
And in that inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We'll be back for the bottom of the 6th inning.
Human beings can be hungry anytime they please. Maybe you messed up and didn't eat enough lunch. Perhaps dinner is very far away. It doesn't matter. Come to Arby's and solve your hunger problems with dollar sliders, cookies, small-sized fries, drinks, and shakes, each for $1 from 2 to 5 p.m., not a.m. Arby's, we have the meat.
Some of the changes I've seen myself since I've been here at UNCG is just, I've been really challenged. I've been really encouraged to come out of my comfort zone.
As a professor, what I feel is most important is to find that passion.
Do you have this dream of doing something bigger for the world, but you don't know how to get there? This is the place where you go to figure it out.
Here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Rebecca Kale will lead off. Just kidding. Sydney Gerkman will lead off. Sydney Gerkman, Rebecca Kale, and then Aquaviva will be up to bat. So the bottom 3 of UNCG's lineup.
And they're all 0 for on the day, so all 3 Spartans that are coming up to bat here in the 6th are due.
And we talked a little bit about Lindsay Fodnick starting to look a little bit fatigued. Nothing crazy, but just missing her pitches a little bit more inconsistency in the speeds of her pitches that are all supposed to be fast. So even just her rise ball, you're seeing, in her screwball, you're seeing changes in that. So that's something that I think will definitely come into play in the next 2 innings.
And I think she's even lost about 5 miles an hour on most of her regular speed pitches. It looks considerably slower.
And screwball fouled off by Sydney Gerkman. Yeah, I agree. It does look slower.
I wish we had a radar gun to put on her, because then we would for sure know. But
well, because she's one of those pitchers, you watch her pitch and you're like, whew, okay, she throws hard. And now, I mean, she throws hard, but it's not like
the first 3 innings, she was definitely
gas.
Low to mid 60s.
Yeah.
On her top pitches.
And fouled off again by Gerkman, now with no balls, 2 strikes.
And I would say she's struggling to hit low 60s now. I would say she's upper 50s and maybe not even hitting the low 60s, which is almost perfect batting practice speed.
And change up, and once again you can see that frustration from Lindsay Fadnick as she doesn't get that call. And Fadnick gets the strikeout, sends Sydney Gerkman back into the dugout. Rebecca Kale up to bat next for the Spartans. And so far she's had 2 fly outs. One of them she got a good piece of the ball, one she didn't. So you were saying she's due. This should be her at bat, really. And Kale, hard ground ball to third base. That it looked foul, was called foul, but I think there's been a little bit of a hesitation all game in how quickly foul or fair is called, and I think that has caused some of the confusion and or controversy.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, just as a fielder, it's a good rule of thumb just to play everything out. Yeah, throw it. Might as well throw it anyway, even if it is a foul ball, especially in a game like this.
And another one fouled off. So once again, Kale battling with no balls, 2 strikes.
And like we spoke about before, we've seen her get down in situations like this, and she seems to find a way to get on base.
She's very good at fouling off pitches. So she's really good at being able to just get a piece of it with 2 strikes.
And as a hitter, that's what you want to do. You want to foul off pitches. The more pitches you foul off, the more pitches you see. And then the greater the chances of you getting your pitch.
There she goes again, fouling that one off.
That changeup is dangerous to throw to Becca Kale.
Yeah, she doesn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, we've seen Becca Kale all year long. She's been able to sit on that changeup and drive it into a gap. I'm not sure that ETSU has that in their scouting report.
No. I think she's a very versatile batter, just in that she can either foul off or hit a lot of different types of pitches.
Yeah, she makes adjustments very well.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes, working the count. And that ball is up in between short and center. Center fielder will be able to get the play and get the out. That was Johnson in center field. Aquaviva up to bat.
Coming to the plate, the center fielder, number 34, Emily Aquaviva.
Drop curve outside part of the plate, called for a ball. Emily Aquaviva all the way back in the far side of the box. Gets a piece of that. Fouled off behind her. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. And fouled off. That looks like it might stay in, and catcher able to make the play. I thought that was going to go out of bounds, but it stayed in, and that will send Aquaviva back to the dugout, her whole team back out to the field.
The Spartan half of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We'll be back.
Add big flavor to your next get-together with Subway Catering, featuring good-to-go boxed meals with a side and freshly baked cookie, crowd-pleasing giant subs, and piled-high sandwich platters overflowing with flavorific choices. All made the way you say with everything you love, like jalapenos and chipotle Southwest sauce. Subway Catering is simple and satisfying, a great value for any budget. Just call 877-360-CATER or visit Subway.com and let us take care of any occasion. Subway, cater fresh.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
The Spartans are just 3 outs away from closing out this game. It is 4-2, Spartans up 2 and top of the 7th inning right now, and Alicia Bazonsky needing to lead her team to just put the final W over this game.
Yeah, and what we see coming up for East Tennessee, they're right in the heart of their lineup. They're 3, 4, 5 batters up. So the Spartans will really have to be tough on defense here. And
the good thing about that with the 3, 4, 5 is so far Bazonsky has done really well against their 3 batter, against the best hitter in their lineup, Danielle Knutza. She struck her out. There was a double play in the 3rd inning, and then she struck her out again.
But also on the other end of that means that she's due.
And ground ball to Jasmine Palmer, who throws it. And fortunately for the Spartans, she was out on that one too. So 1 out, 1 pitch, and 1 out gone. They just need 2 more outs to close out this game. Tiffany Lauren, now the left fielder, up to bat, and she has had 2 walks and a single so far.
And Tiffany Lauren is, the 2nd best hitter in this East Tennessee lineup, and also she's 3 for 3 on the bases. So if she were to get on, it's, she could potentially get into scoring position. Not that run would matter.
Yeah.
But it does put a little bit of added pressure on the Spartan defense, and you never know what could happen in that situation.
So no balls, 1 strike, 1 out. We're in the top of the 7th. Drop curve too low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Same pitch, called for a ball once again. And curveball just didn't quite stay, keep her hand in the right place, and that one shot up.
Boz is going to look to work back against this hitter here. She doesn't want to. As a pitcher, you don't ever want to walk any batters, but especially you're in the top of the 7th, you don't want to walk anyone.
And so she gets that pitch, that one inside. Now Bazonsky with a full count against a very good batter here for ETSU in Tiffany Lauren, the senior with a 364 average. And fouls that one off. You can see Lauren making an adjustment with her bottom hand. A little bit of a physical correction for what she wanted to do differently on that pitch. And she is walked again. That was inside, and that is the 3rd time Bazonsky has walked Tiffany Lauren today. But they still have 1 out, and right now that 1 run, that 1 runner doesn't matter.
Right, that 1 run doesn't matter, but you're also putting the tying run in the box right now.
Yes, so it could matter.
Tiffany Carter is 0 for 3 on the day. And she did ground into a double play, her last at bat. So we'll see if the Spartans can turn a 4th double play of the game.
Yeah.
Get them out of this game and put the W up on the board.
And three ground balls is a good kind of batter to have in this situation for the Spartans, because if it gets in the air, you never know how far it could go. And then she gets one in the air, but Aquaviva able to get a fast jump and make the play. Aquaviva doing a great job in center, and she's limping.
That was a great read.
Something happened to Aquaviva.
Yeah, she landed right. She landed right on her knee. She landed right on her knee.
And athletic trainer running out Aquaviva.
Yeah, Mel's coming out to take a look at her.
Able to stand up now, but she had to lay down for a little bit.
It looks like she's saying, "I'm okay." And me just working with them and being a part of their support staff. Emily has had to take it easy because of her knees. In the past, she's a little banged up in her knees, and she made a great read on that ball.
Yeah, that was a
she
great
really
play.
did. That was a line shot, and it was kind of dying. And she's not limping right now. She's walking. She's walking pretty normal for her. See Coach Janelle Brenneman's out there, and
She's just walking it out, seeing if it's
and
going to tweak again.
Mel's the athletic trainer. Mel's taking a look at her and checking out her gait.
A little bit of rowdiness in the crowd today.
Yeah. We see Viva running, doing a little full speed run, having a conversation with Mel. And I think the big concern here is she's had knee problems in the past and she has ongoing knee problems. And they just want to make sure she's safe.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want to lose your starting center fielder.
No.
And, you know, if that means resting her for a little bit, you can rest her. But it looks like she's going to be all right. She's going to shake that off. And Spartans have 2 outs here.
They need one more to close out this game. Up to bat now is Kelsey Smith. And Smith has that average of 167, but she has done very well today. She's had 2 singles.
Yeah, she's had Boz's number today.
Yeah.
So the tying run is still in the batter's box right now.
Ball.
The runner on first doesn't mean anything, even though we did see Becca Kale trying to keep Lauren honest because she is 3 for 3 on the bases, but in this situation, I wouldn't like to see Becca Kale throwing down.
No, the risk reward isn't. It's not high enough in this situation.
No. So hopefully that message has been relayed to Becca Kale, and they just work on the batter in this situation.
And hard shot up the middle. Aquaviva able to scoop it up and makes the throw to third, and she might get out, and she is tagged shot.
Third base.
Great job from Aquaviva, who just got hurt, was able to run and make the play, had no hesitation whatsoever, made the throw. Great tag laid down by Gabrielle Covage, and UNCG takes the first win. And once again, if they can sweep this series, they win the championship. They are 1 out of 3 games done with that goal.
Right. A little controversial game we had.
Yeah.
We thought there was going to be a lot of offensive action. We wanted some action. We got some action by way of controversy.
We did.
Spartans come out on top. And winning pitcher, Alicia Bazonsky. Losing pitcher, Lindsay Fadnick.
And we'll be back in just approximately half an hour for the second game. So if you've been listening, thank you so much for the support, and stick around because we'll be back.
This day when I hear that song, see you standing there.